right, everybody, clap your hands. Come on now, everybody, clap your hands. Come on. This is Weeknights. I was given free reign today to introduce us.
You were.
This is Weeknights. I'm your host, Dash. This is my lovely co-host, JD, aka He Who Pods, aka Rearview Mirror, because he's got the glasses on, aka Mad Hatter comes out on January 13th.
Yeah.
Wherever you get wherever you get your wherever you get your music. So on all the DSPs. And also, I just want to say a special shout out to you because today, Weeknights, is Weeknight's birthday.
Cumpleaños feliz. Cumpleaños feliz. All right, so yeah, I get. Maybe next year I sing the rest of the song.
Right. So yeah, really exciting. It's been a year since we've been doing this.
Yes.
And thank you. Thank you all
Happy
for
Potiversary.
happy Potiversary to you. And thank you all for anytime you have given us a listen, anytime you have subscribed or commented or
Giving us a
liked.
like, right?
Hit us on Instagram, hit us on TikTok,
Pulled up in
YouTube.
person and been like, so I saw what you said on the pod.
Right.
I just was wondering, what made you think that? Can we discuss it for 40 minutes?
Right, exactly. Or anybody who ever shared our content, we appreciate you so much. And thank you. Thank you for being here. And do come back. Do come back. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe.
Perfect time to hit the button.
Right. It's the perfect time to hit subscribe. Again, we are on all your audio platforms. So if you don't want to watch, totally understand. You go
Just
to
give
Spotify.
us a good, you know what I mean? Just
Apple,
put one of these on,
wherever.
you know what I mean?
Exactly. And you can listen to your heart's content. But yeah, I just wanted to shout out the fact that our little podcast that could is a year old.
That's it. That's us.
Yeah.
The little podcast that could.
So Bad Bunny just released an album.
I know. Y'all are thinking, wow. Y'all are really going crazy in the new year.
I mean, listen, we're just talking about what's out there. Bad Bunny released an album.
I just feel like
What?
I just feel like if you just press play on the episode and heard our intro and the very next thing was, so Bad Bunny dropped the album. You just like, damn, they really going there this year.
Right. So Bad Bunny released an album. Do you have the album title available?
I mean, I got Spotify and Google. Hold on. I didn't know I was supposed to have that queued up. You know what I mean?
I'm pretty sure your Spanish pronunciations are better than mine, so...
I don't believe that, but...
Oh
my gosh. This is called Debí tirar más fotos.
Yes. So he releases this album. I assume it was released in the past week or so.
Oh, listen, we don't got to assume. It was released on January 5th, 2025.
So, Sunday? Okay.
And now you're trying to make a liar out of me.
Well, January 5th was Sunday.
Oh, okay, great. So then even better. Continue.
Right. No, I wasn't questioning it because of you. I was questioning it because I was about to say, well, I guess when you Bad Bunny, you could do whatever you want.
I'm about to say Bad Bunny is on the same list as Beyonce. He can drop whenever the boop he wants to.
Bad Bunny has said that this is the most Puerto Rican album he has made. And he's been doing his press tour and going around the place and talking about the album. So something that stood out to me, the reason I wanted to talk about him was because I saw a video where he was interviewed by the New York Times has a podcast called Popcast. And he was interviewed on there about his album, and they asked him about the fact that, there's a language barrier. He's considered a part of the mainstream, but there's a language barrier. Like I've listened to Bad Bunny I've even come to you and been like, I love this Bad Bunny song. And I'm like,
Absolutely.
I had to Google what he was saying. And so that's kind of the conversation that they were trying to have. Like, there's so many people who don't actually understand what you're saying. What do you think about the language barrier? So he points out that it's not just people who aren't Spanish speaking. It's also people who are Spanish speaking, but maybe they're used to a different dialect. He said he's very specific in that he uses Puerto Rican slang when he makes his music. So and apparently this whole album was done in Puerto Rico. So there's also a lot of that injected into the album. Um, he said all the musicians, everybody, they were Puerto Rican.
Okay,
So
I like that.
I like that too. I think that's really cool. Um, they basically asked him, like, how do you feel about the fact that there's a language barrier? Like, do you think that you need to address that?
And
Or,
that's what this clip is, right?
yes. And then he said, are you going to play the clip? Or,
Yeah.
yeah, let's play the clip.
Now that your music is reaching so many millions of people around the world, is there a part of you that feels like listeners who don't understand the lyrics are missing something and will never fully grasp what you're trying to convey?
Definitely people miss a lot of
Nuance.
yeah. Actually, even there's a lot of Latinos who speak Spanish that they missing a lot. I think because I'm singing in Puerto Rican slang.
Right.
I think after Un Verano Sin Ti, it was the biggest part of my career.
Yep.
And I came with this album totally different from Un Verano Sin Ti, de Nadie Sabe Lo Que Va a Pasar Mañana, with a lot of bars and analogías de Puerto Rico and Spanish. And I'm 100% sure that people was like, they missed the best part of that album. Definitely.
How does that make you feel? Do you want to over explain it, or you just feel like it's in the
I
world?
don't care.
That was
I
the
love it.
best response I thought.
I love it.
I thought that response was perfect because I think too often culturally we find ourselves being asked to change the way we do things, the way we say things, the way we dress, make a list. We're often asked to adjust or make things more comfortable for people who don't necessarily who aren't a part of the culture we're a part of. So this for me was nice to see because he doesn't have to change his music or over explain his music
Right.
for people to like him. I mean, I think it's clear that he doesn't have to do that because he's so big, he's so popular. So I don't think there's any reason for him to do that. I think if people, like I said, I was on a resort a couple years ago now and I heard a song that I loved and I can understand a certain amount of Spanish, not all of it, but I was able to make out enough that I was like, wait, I need to know more about what he's saying. And when I went back up to my room, I Googled the lyrics and I translated them. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I also think it forces people who aren't necessarily of or part of a culture to seek some information on their own, which is perfectly fine. There's
Right.
nothing wrong with that. So I thought this was great. I thought this was very unapologetic.
Yep.
And I just want to point out too, I found this clip because somehow I ended up on Spanish Talk / Bad Bunny Talk, and people of the tri-state, the New York tri-state, that is,
Yeah.
are having a blast with this new album because he has one particular song that is about New York specifically. So yeah. So yeah, I was having a good time watching everybody dancing and having a good time. This one girl played it for her grandma, and her grandma
Nice.
went from sitting on the couch to getting up and doing a dance, and I just thought it was great. So good for him. Yeah.
Yeah, listen, number one, Bad Bunny is one of the biggest artists in the world. Easily top 10.
Oh, absolutely.
Easily. In fact, I remember multiple years where, and I can't quote them right now because I don't remember the exact year, but I'm sure if y'all look it up, you can find it.
Mm-hmm.
I remember multiple years where he was the number one streamed artist in the world and not Drake. For like a couple years, they were battling. It was like Bad Bunny 1 year, Drake the next year. Bad Bunny 1 year, Drake the next year. Drake 1 year, Bad Bunny the next year. So y'all get what I'm saying.
Yeah. And then The Weeknd would creep in every now and again.
Right. Well, today The Weeknd and Taylor Swift fight all the time for most monthly listeners on Spotify. They keep going back and forth. But to give y'all just a little more context, Bad Bunny on Spotify has 70.5 million monthly listeners, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not comparing. I just want to give y'all some context to back up what I'm saying.
Okay.
Beyonce has 57 million monthly listeners on Spotify. Not saying he's better or worse or whatever. I'm just saying look at the context here of he has a huge fucking fan base is my point. So
absolutely.
Why do I say that? One, because Bad Bunny has worked himself into a place in his career where he can do whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah.
That's number one. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I think he's put in the work to this point to be able to do whatever he wants to do. Mm-hmm. So that's number one. Number two is, we're from the hip hop culture where we speak in slang all the time. That is the majority of what we do. And we use terms from our culture, from our area. Today, the word John is used all over the place.
It is.
But John is a local Philly word.
Yep.
And part of that is because of hip hop. I'm not going to say it's all because of hip hop. I'm not a Philly person who will be able to tell you the ins and outs of it. But my point is, there's something that music does that allows us to infuse our culture in different ways. And so if that's what he's doing, I fully approve of that. The next thing is art is expression. You're supposed to be able to use all the platforms, all the different types of art to express a multitude of things in a multitude of ways. And so if that's what Bad Bunny is doing with his art, then I'm all for it.
Right. I agree.
Keep going.
One of the things that they talk about, and people can go and find the New York Times. Again, it's called Popcast. You can go and find. I think the interview is a full hour. But one of the things he talks about is that same thing. Like he's like I'm a human being. I'm paraphrasing, but I'm a human being, and I have emotions, and I express myself. And this is the way that I express myself. And doubly that, given that he, again, everything about this oozed his Puerto Rican culture. So I said, go for it. This is why I'm like, I
don't see an issue with it unless you're putting down other cultures.
Of course.
Now, if on the album he was saying, well, Puerto Ricans this, but everybody else, and pushing them down, or Puerto Ricans are better than blah 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 blah, then I would say, okay, I'm not really behind this. But if
same.
If you're just rooting for your people,
I've been championing him.
Yeah, then it's all good. You know what I'm saying? That would be the only way that I'm doing that. And let's be clear, if that's on the album, then y'all could put it in the comments and we'll come back and talk about it. But we didn't listen to the album. The point is just that we saw this and thought it was a discussion that was worth having, largely because of the authenticity of him and what he's doing. And we believe that when you are able to stick to your guns and be authentic and truly be who you are in this industry, that's a beautiful thing. And so we applaud that here all the time. And that's basically why we're talking about this. We want to applaud Bad Bunny and what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And truly, I don't think his fans care.
No, they
Largely
don't.
because Bad Bunny makes the slaps, bops, hits, whatever you want to call it. That's what
They don't
Bad
care.
Bunny do. He's a hit making machine. And so
Right.
if Bad Bunny want to go to Africa and make an album about Ghana, as long as he got the hits, slaps, bops, I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, his fans. So I know you don't. I know you never approve when I go in the comments, but I
I
purposely
never
went.
approve when anyone goes in the comments.
But I
The comments is the ghetto.
It is, but sometimes I look at I look at the comments for different reasons. In this particular instance, I looked at them because I was curious about what people were saying in response to what he said. Um, and largely, people were like, "Yeah, I just go look it up if I need to, or I call up a friend who knows what he's saying, or I." There's a girl who I saw today in my feed. She's actually translating it for people. She's playing
What
the
a smart
music,
creator.
and yes, she's playing the
I'm about to do
music
that with hip hop
and
for the
and
people who don't understand hip hop.
and mouthing it, but then on the screen, everything is in English. She did
Lovely.
this.
I'm about to go do the same thing with Pound Town.
All right. So more power to him. Let's move on. You're gonna go translate Pound Town? That's what you're gonna do.
For those who don't understand it, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying.
You know,
For
we have
those,
gone several months without talking about that lady, and here you go.
it's the first song that came to mind that I thought might be translatable, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Might be something they needed translated in there.
What's the next
Anyway,
topic?
so the Oscars are coming up.
They are.
And there's lots of
Gonna be great.
talk always about what's Oscar worthy, what's going to win Best Picture,
Mhm.
what should be Best Picture, why is it not Best Picture. And so I found an article that I thought was interesting, and
Yeah.
it's about the Oscars. So it's from The Wrap,
Mhm.
and it says more than a third of Oscar qualifying films this year are not eligible for Best Picture. It says there are 323 feature films eligible for the upcoming Academy Awards. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences announced on Monday, though a whopping 36% of those 116 feature films are not eligible for consideration in the Best Picture category.
Mm-hmm.
The discrepancy between films that have qualified for the top category and films that are eligible in other categories comes either because the filmmakers did not attempt to qualify, likely the case for several documentary, animated, or international films, or because of new eligibility rules that require Best Picture candidates to meet additional benchmarks for diversity and inclusion. This is the second year that representation and inclusion standards, or RAISE, have been enforced, though they did not appear to disqualify any serious contenders in the category. Among titles excluded from Best Picture considered are Bird, Woman of the Hour, Knox Goes Away, Bad Boys Ride or Die, the musical remake, Mean Girls. That's the end of the article, short and sweet.
I only saw one of those films.
I just want to start by saying none of those films were probably going to be nominated anyway. So that was a bad that was a bad group of films to throw in there, in my humble opinion.
Why, you weren't feeling Mean Girls?
Oh, actually, there's more article. But I think you get the point, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You weren't feeling Mean Girls. You didn't think that was a 5-star production.
I didn't watch it.
Okay. I mean,
they're really smart. They heard me, and they knew somebody like me was coming. There's a full list. I'm not going to read it because it's way too long, even though it's in alphabetical order. But there is a list on the, if y'all want to go look at it, you can. It says, here is the full list of eligible features. Titles in all caps did not qualify for the Best Picture category. It's a super long list. I'm not reading it. Y'all could go look it up if you want. Because it's like all the 300 films that they spoke about. Or whatever, 100 and something films they spoke about.
Well, this is interesting. I mean, I think, can I be honest?
Please do. We try to be honest on this platform. I don't know if you know. Maybe you're new here.
Just got here. Just got here a year ago.
I was going to say, you only been here a year, right?
The films that they want to be recognized will be recognized.
Oh, yeah.
I just feel like all of this is nonsense to me because no matter what, like, y'all gonna recognize the films you want to. There might be a handful that make it through just because, you know, people supported it or had a friend who was in it or something like that, because we know the Academy is of people in Hollywood and adjacent to. So I don't really know what else to say here other than, sure, it is disappointing for films who wanted to be considered. I guess there's probably a difference for them between being considered and not getting it, versus being disqualified from the start.
Right.
So,
but you
there's
think
something
Bad Boys was really gonna...
I think that Will Smith and Martin Lawrence are two talented people.
But not Best Picture. Like, let's just...
I think Will Smith and Martin Lawrence are two talented people. So what I was saying is that it is what it is. Like, this is unfortunate for who it's unfortunate for, right? But I don't think that we would have gotten a vastly different product.
Right.
Like, okay, maybe Mean Girls would have been. I feel like Mean Girls is... I didn't recognize all of those films. I didn't recognize most of those films that you read.
Right.
And that was just a short list you read.
I was gonna say, yeah. I was actually gonna look at... I was gonna look at the movies in all caps to see if I recognized any of the ones that are not eligible, and if I feel like, ooh, y'all should consider XYZ. But yes, please continue.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically it. I feel like Mean Girls, because Mean Girls is so high profile, I feel like that would have been maybe not the strongest of contenders, but I feel like that would have been nominated.
For Best Picture?
Well, not for Best Picture. This is just for Best Picture, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so then, no, I don't know, because who's nominated for Best Picture? Do we know? I think that's out already, right?
Yeah, hold on.
Okay, just tell me what you think. You don't have to look that up.
That's fine.
No. We're running out of time, so just tell me what you think about it.
I got it already. I got the list. Variety got a list. Okay. All right. The predicted nominees. Nominees? Why are they predicted?
Too, because maybe they didn't actually release the nominees yet. Oh, I don't think they did, because I saw something today that said that they had extended voting. So maybe we don't know
yet.
yet.
Oscars in just a couple weeks?
Not a couple weeks. It's in a little over a month. Because I believe it would be the week after Super Bowl or the week before.
Okay, so I can't tell you what the nominees are because everybody's
No,
saying predictions.
I'm sorry. That was my mistake. But so what do you think?
I think that if Barbie, which was extremely inclusionary, did not have the Oscar nomination last year for Best Picture,
That's true.
then it doesn't matter how big or small your film is.
Yeah.
They're going to do what they do. I
Yeah.
remember multiple years where films won that nobody heard of, and some of them just came out a couple weeks before,
Yeah.
and people were like, isn't that movie like 2 weeks old?
Yeah, that always throws me.
I mean, 2 weeks is exaggerative, but my
But
point being,
sometimes it is that close though. I think it's
well, based on the eligibility standards, your movie has to come out before December 31st. So that means your movie, when the Oscars come out, is at least 2 months old, right? Or close to 2 months old. But the point being, if your movie's doing well, it's still in
it's
theaters.
still
And
in
that's what
theaters.
throws people aloof. It's like, isn't that in theaters right now? And so, yeah, but there's eligibility uh, rules for a reason. My point is, I agree with you. I don't think it matters what uh, the raise standards are. I
Mhm.
think what matters is what are they getting behind.
Mhm.
Because Barbie made over $1 billion when very few films did last year. And 2024, actually 2023, that would be 2023. Um, Very few films made $1 billion in 2023. I mean, listen, not many films make $1 billion today, period, right? Since COVID, the industry has been struggling. Some
Mhm.
say it's reemerged at this point
Mhm.
with certain blockbuster films like a Oppenheimer, like a Barbie, like a Deadpool and Wolverine. But my point is, if those films will not make it, then what makes you think any other film will? Like, I could tell you, Deadpool and Wolverine will not be winning Best Picture, and it was $1 billion film last year.
Mhm. Yeah.
So it broke records, and we spoke about it. But Deadpool and Wolverine is not going to be considered for Best Picture. Of course not.
Yeah.
So I don't think this is a real thing to debate about. I think, sure, follow the inclusionary rules because inclusion and diversity are important. I
Yeah.
don't want to make it seem like we're saying otherwise. I think our
No.
previous topic about Bad Bunny proves that we're all about diversity and
Yeah.
inclusion. But
It's just that we know the game.
right, it's
We
like
live the
they're
game
whatever
every
they fucking
day. I
with is
mean,
what they fucking with.
yeah. That's we know the game. Like it's not we we don't live in that sweet happy world that some people think we live in where none of this exists. Like we live in the world where it does exist.
Right.
So
So yeah.
yeah. So it kind of is what it is. I mean, I don't really have too much to say about that because I don't even think I think that's just top films are going to be the top films and that's going to be it. That's not.
And truly, if we're being honest, y'all should all be inclusionary and diversified.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's why I'm saying I think the inclusion conversation is,
Because wait a minute, didn't Oppenheimer win Best Picture last year?
I believe so. They kind of swept. They won a lot of awards.
I saw
So.
Oppenheimer multiple times, and it ain't the most diverse
No,
of casts.
it's not. But that's why that's the point, right? It just kind of is what it is. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they're not worried about that. If your film is the top film of the year, if your film is a part of Barbenheimer, it don't matter. It does not matter. It's gonna happen the way it happens. They're gonna find a way, they're gonna find a loophole, and they're gonna be able to justify it because they
What
make
they
the
gonna do
rules
when
and
Wicked
they
wins
break
two
the
years in
rules.
a row?
Hmm?
What they gonna do when Wicked wins 2 years in a row?
I don't know. You think the second film, I asked you this before, you think the second film is gonna be as big as the first?
I actually, after speaking to my daughter who knows the story, she broke it down for me one day.
Mm-hmm.
I think number two is gonna do better than number one.
Really?
My daughter told me, and I'm gonna try to do this quick. My daughter told me that the first film is clearly the prequel, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the second film gets into the nooks and crannies of the Wizard of Oz and actually goes beyond the Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
So actually, it tells you like who's the lion, who's the Tin Man, and why.
Okay. Maybe I'll like the second film better.
And you know the sister that got killed in the beginning of Wizard of Oz? That Dorothy takes the red shoes from?
Uh-huh.
That's the sister in the wheelchair in Wicked.
Oh.
It gets crazy, my daughter was telling me. I was like, oh, girl. Why nobody told me that?
So now you're
I'm
going
out
to see
here
it.
talking about I ain't going to go see Wicked #2.
And now you want to see it.
At home. I'm not going to theaters.
Same.
In pieces where I could press pause and just...
Yeah. I think my issue with in pieces at home is that sometimes I just get distracted and move on to other things.
So what?
You're right.
Yeah, but she was breaking it down to me how even... Spoiler alert!
It's a play that exists in the world already. Like, it's not a spoiler. Please tell us.
She says the melting of the Wicked Witch is fake. And that's part of what Wicked is about. She doesn't die when they throw the water on her and I'm melting. In Wicked, they show you that it was a trick. She didn't die.
It was a spell?
It was a trick. I don't know the details. She was like, I'm telling you, Dad, you gotta see #2.
Nah,
it's gonna be crazy.
She made a good case.
And I was like, you might be
Because
right.
now I'm like, ooh.
Now I'm really here. Like, why did I even watch #1? Why I didn't tell me this? I'd have just waited for #2.
It sounds like tea. Okay.
Right. She gave me all the tea, a large cup.
Uh-huh. All right. Yeah. Well, now we know. Well, that has been the episode. Thank you so much to my co-host. I'm very proud of us and the year we've had. Thank you
because,
to all
if it was just me here, it wouldn't be the same. Because I too have a podcast where it's just me and these things don't happen. The things that have happened this year, they don't happen over there.
I understand. So, thanks to all of you, and we will see you tomorrow.
Yes, indeed. Bye.